It's November. November. If you're from back east, every is a ah. Ah. I hope you're doing well. Hey, we've talked about sweater time. Layers. I just want you to know I have resolved that during this next few months, the winter cushion that normally finds its way around my belly is not going to be a part of my life. And somehow I'm going to work that out and still be able to eat my mint chocolate chip, little teeny bowl of mint chocolate chip ice cream every night with semi-chocolate sprinkles. Found a new thing, hoping it works. Tomato juice. Let's see, green tea tablets and coffee. I heard that somehow restricts the fat uptake. Well, I'll let you know how it works. If not, I'm wearing sweaters anyway, so you can't tell. At least not yet. I want you to just take a moment and think of something as we're entering into this next month. Something that kind of speaks to all of us. And we're going to be talking about this tonight in service, but how God allows for various aspects of trials in our life. James chapter 1 and verse 2 talks about many diverse. The word is poikilos in the Greek, and it speaks of variegated, many-sided. I guess you could compare it to like a box of crayons. There's so many different colors that could be created by blending those 8 different objects. Roy G. Biv, those 6 or 7 different colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. That's one thing I did learn in school. And the mixture's basically unlimited. That's the way trials are in our life. They're unlimited. And God places us in them. And he does it for a purpose. And the purpose is so that he can qualify our relationship to his word. I just want you to think for a moment. We've often heard of Abraham in Genesis 22 and verse 1 and 2 that God tested him. It says God came, spoke to him, tested him. Said, I want you to take your son up to the mountain where I'm going to show you, and I want you to sacrifice him there. It was a test. God was testing him. Now, I don't even begin to imagine how much emotional suffering went on, mental torment. I can only assume that he didn't tell Sarah. Had he done that, my goodness, I can't imagine what that would have been like for her. But he just obeyed God. He went up there, and you know the story there in Genesis 22. God provided the sacrifice. God watches over us. But in Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 17 through 19, it tells us something, especially in verse 19, that he considered that God was able to raise the dead if necessary. That's why he was so willing to do this. And I thought about that. I thought, that's a pretty bold assessment for a human being. But then I realized that, actually that's what God had done for him earlier in his life. That's what God did when he was 100 years old. God actually took a dead body, a person that could not reproduce, and made them capable of doing so. Not only he, but Sarah. God produced life out of death. He had already been shown that God could do this, and he believed that God could do it again if necessary. Now, for all of us, think about all the things that God has brought you through. All of them. And I'm sure there's many that we don't even begin to realize. But if he's been faithful in the past, he will be faithful in the future. I guess it's just because in 1 Corinthians 1:9, God is faithful. That's his nature. He's true to his word. He doesn't change. He sticks to what he says he'll do. And God has shown himself faithful to us, not only in our salvation, but in the details of our life. And he will continue to do so. As you go through this next season, whatever it may hold, my prayer is that we will realize that the same God that was faithful to his promise to save us and all of humanity from their sin. It doesn't mean they're going to heaven, but they're saved from their sin. That same God is going to be faithful in the details and the tests of our life. God's just testing us to see, do we really believe his word? Till next time, friends, God bless you.